So we're talking about the ending of Siren's Kiss, and honestly, after everything, I need to process all the twists because this is not just a simple mystery thriller. This is a psychological exploration of how love can become toxic and destructive. There was much more to Paek juj-beom than what we really understood, and guys, when I say much more, I mean this character's entire identity was a lie, because in actuality, this suave, calculating individual was not Paek juj-beom at all, but rather Soo-ho, once the lover of Seola. And here's the thing. The man had received a new face because of an allegedly fatal experience that had occurred when he was in Syria. And I mean the fact that he underwent plastic surgery to completely change his appearance and then inserted himself back into Seolah's life is absolutely chilling. Like, that level of obsession is beyond anything I expected. Like, think about it, his motives went way beyond mere revenge. Soo-ho, also known as juj-beom, seems to have been motivated by a sick combination of obsession's need for control and psychological instability. And honestly, that's what makes him so terrifying. Because he's not just angry, he's completely unhinged. The young man felt that it was Seola who led to his downfall, and he aimed at psychologically destroying her, not just punishing her physically. And guys, this is where the obsession becomes truly disturbing, because he doesn't want her dead, he wants her suffering, he wants her trapped in constant fear and emotional dependence on him. And I mean, his constant stalking of her movements, manipulation of events around her, makes it seem like he wants her to be in constant fear, make her feel guilty, and be trapped in an endless circle of dependence on him emotionally. And honestly, that's not love, that's psychological torture. Now, this might seem like typical villain behavior, but bear with me because I think Soo-ho/juj-beom represents the most dangerous kind of abuser, the one who genuinely believes their actions are justified by love. Yes, Seol-ah does manage to expose Chairwoman Kim, but her triumph comes with its share of complications. And guys, this is such an important moment because Seol-ah finally fights back. She proves she's not just a victim, but someone who can strategically take down her abuser. And here's the thing, having gathered sufficient evidence, Seola even manages to record the items inside the secret vault that were actually forged and stolen artworks. And it was in a high-profile auction that Seola decided to make her move, announcing before a wide audience what Chairwoman Kim had been doing all along. Like, the police come and apprehend the chairwoman on the basis of the information that has been presented by Seola. But unfortunately, the success remains short-lived, because the chairwoman manages to avoid facing any severe repercussions by getting herself released on bail, and then she's eventually murdered in Siren's Kiss. Episode 12, we see that Do Eun-hyuk was the actual murderer responsible for all the deaths. And guys, this revelation absolutely destroyed me, because he was there all along as the best friend of Seola, who was always there to protect her. And I mean, the shock factor lies in the fact that he was never seen as a possible murderer, but rather as the person supporting Seola. However, behind his loyalty was a perverted mindset that only he was capable of protecting her, no matter what it took. The fact that he committed murder against many people, including Seolah's lovers such as Seung-jae and Soo-ho, as well as Yoon-ji and Chairwoman Kim, tells us that Yun Hyuk genuinely believed he was doing the right thing. Like, every act of murder had its justification from Yun Hyuk's point of view. Now, here's where it gets even more heartbreaking. Yun Hyuk uncovers the entire truth only when he confronts Woo-seok and puts a gun to his head, and following knocking him out and tying him to a chair, Yun Hyuk sits calmly and proceeds to explain himself and all his killings and why it seems to him that Woo-seok should also meet this destiny of death. But here's the catch. Yun Hyuk did not know that Seola had traced both her father and the detective down and was listening to all their conversation. And guys, at the climax of the suspense, Yun Hyuk chooses to kill Woo-seok because, as he believed, Seol-ah would be in danger of being hurt by this man someday. However, just as he shoots, Seol-ah runs in and gets shot instead of Woo-seok. And honestly, this moment is so tragic because Seol-ah literally takes a bullet to protect the man she loves from the person who claimed to be protecting her all along. No, Seol-ah never murdered her parents, even though she genuinely believed she had for her entire life. And guys, this is the most heartbreaking part of the entire story, because Seola has been carrying this guilt, her entire existence, thinking she was responsible for her parents' deaths. And here's the thing, what she had said before was born out of pain, guilt, and the misunderstanding of what really took place during that night when she was still very young. She found herself in an impossible predicament where she returned to her home only to find her parents in the process of trying to end their lives. But in the ending of Siren's Kiss, we discovered that, in fact, Yun Hyuk is the person who actually arranged the death of his family because of the money that he can get from their insurance. And I mean, Yun Hyuk killed Seolah's entire family for insurance money while making sure she survived, like after arriving there and seeing how everything happened. Yun Hyuk arranged their deaths to be absolutely sure that Seola would survive, while all other members of her family would burn to death. And honestly, the betrayal is so deep because the one person she trusted most in the world was the one who destroyed her life. In Yun Hyuk's case, love and control were one and the same thing, and he does not show any signs of regret when his crimes come to light. On the contrary, he holds on to the conviction that all the things he had done were justified because they were for her own good. But then he starts feeling the weight of his conscience when he discovers that Seol-ah is ready to shoulder the burden for his sins, and this becomes a turning point in his life because he realizes that he has been hurting her all along. With his misguided intentions of protecting her from any danger, ultimately he confesses to the killings he has committed. And to be fair, Yun Hyuk is unable to confront the repercussions of his actions, as well as the fact that he is now completely rejected by Seola, lacking anything else to cling to, such as some form of justification, or even any sort of link between himself and the girl he was obsessed with. He opts for the more drastic solution of killing himself. Indeed, Seol-ah and Woo-seok achieve happiness in the end of Siren's Kiss. And guys, after everything they went through, they deserve this happy ending because despite all the mistrust risks, heartaches, and even life-threatening circumstances that the two have been through, it finally becomes possible for them to be sincere toward each other. And here's the thing. Following the end of the revelations, Woo-seok stays close to Seola as she heals from her physical and emotional injuries, and unlike their previous connections, which were based on keeping secrets and solving mysteries, this connection is based on a mutual decision to look ahead when he proposes that they begin an actual relationship. Seola accepts his proposal, showing that she is now willing to love without hesitation. And honestly, that's such growth for her character because she spent her entire life believing she was cursed. Believing that everyone who loved her died, she reveals her aspirations to travel to another country to pursue a career in art which is related to her childhood and her father, but acknowledges that she is unsure of how long it will take her, and for once she prioritizes herself while still maintaining some connection with love. But surprisingly, Woo-seok does not back away either. He silently places the ring on her hand despite not demanding anything from her, and this is a declaration that he will wait for her and support her wherever she may go. And guys, that's real love. Not the obsessive, controlling version that Yun Hyuk and Suho represented. Final thoughts. I think Siren's Kiss ultimately told a story about the difference between love and obsession and how people who claim to protect you can actually be the ones destroying you. And honestly, that's such an important message because Yun Hyuk genuinely believed he was saving Seola when in reality he was trapping her in a cycle of trauma and guilt. The fact that Seola finally gets to live for herself, to pursue her dreams, to love someone who respects her autonomy is the real victory of this ending. And to be fair, the drama could have easily gone darker and killed off one of the leads, but I'm glad they gave Seola and Woo-seok a chance at happiness after everything they endured anyways. Let me know what you guys think. Down in the comments, did the Siren's Kiss ending satisfy you or do you wish it had gone?